Okay, yeah, because, you know, now we're down to 9 carriers, and these are really expensive. Look, I'm getting ready for the fiscal cliff. Look
Hey,
what I
look at
moved
this.
into. Just in case, I will
like
be out there in
Candy
the
Camera.
woods. Craig Bouchard, glad to have you here.
Thank
Michael
you.
Cargill, glad to have you back. And like I said last week, we're going to talk about the fiscal cliff.
Yeah, that's very good. Excellent.
Do I need to go hide out in my trailer out in the country there? And yeah. Oh, anyway, first, last week's show is up on just trailerparkshow.com. It sounds good. It doesn't look real good because we didn't tape it properly, but nonetheless.
No, it was taped properly, but somebody had messed with the settings of the video.
Well, there's always an excuse. Nonetheless, it didn't look as good as it did if you watched it live.
You know,
But it's still up there. You can hear the Christmas songs. They were good. Next week, they're going to do some kind of silly stuff. I don't quite know what it is. And then that'll be it for sure. But we're all approaching this fiscal cliff, as they call it. I thought I had a little film to play, a minute and a half, about an intelligent woman trying to explain it to me, and I was, of course, completely lost.
do we have it to play?
No, because I don't know if my...
Wait, I hear. We do.
Huh? Oh, play that real quick, and then we'll talk. Can you do that? Yeah, because a lot of people don't know just exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
Except the price of goods and services are going to go up across the board, no matter what it seems like.
Well, they're already going up.
They're already going up.
I mean,
and
the price of
Republicans
milk,
are
the
gonna
price
get
of
blamed
bread,
for
the
it.
price of gas, I mean, everything's gone up. But they say, when are the taxes coming? The taxes are here. They're just going to get worse. You can see gas at $5, $6, $7 a gallon.
Yeah, they all say, well, look, the price of gas is coming down. I say, man, it was, when he took office, it was less than $2 a gallon.
But we have to be, it was $1.76 a gallon, okay?
Nonetheless.
Depending on where you went, all right? But the bottom line is, even if it's $2.80 a gallon, but your dollar's worth 40% less than it was before, it's really $4 and $5 a gallon. You have to look at what money's worth versus what
Yep.
you're paying. Right. And that's what people don't look at.
10-4. That's
a big deal.
we're going to wind up needing a barrel full of money just to buy a loaf of bread. Is that what's going to happen here?
Well, you know, unfortunately, there's a truth serum in all of this that we have an opportunity to right some of these wrongs, and that's by making smart decisions. Unfortunately, we don't have a good history of making smart decisions. What is that noise?
What was that?
Is there rats in here? What's going on?
There he is, Guido. Come on in here, sit down. Scoot over a little, let Guido get in there.
Absolutely. Microphone.
Where you been, man?
Man, running crazy.
Let me see.
Yeah, I know he spent some time with the ISD. We'll get into that too, but right now we're still on the physical clip.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Here it is.
All right, watch this. We'll be right back.
Oh, we're going to fall off?
Hi,
No.
everyone. I'm Lizanne Saunders,
I don't-
Chief Investment Strategist at Charles Schwab. I've talked in the past about how the market, businesses, and investors dislike uncertainty. And while we alleviated one big question mark with the outcome of the election, it did nothing to provide clarity on the bigger uncertainty, which is the so-called fiscal cliff. Now, the term cliff suggests that if we fall off it, it's a steep and immediate plunge. In fact, the fiscal cliff, even if the whole package kicks in at year-end, won't be an immediate hit to the economy. The impact of both the tax hikes and the sequestration spending cuts, of course, will be spread out over the year. In addition, President Obama's win suggests that Fed Chair Ben Bernanke keeps his job and likely the Fed's pedal to the metal, which would temper some of the pain of the cliff. In fact, it might be more of a fiscal gradual slope, but that doesn't mean it isn't a very serious issue. And while the impact might not be immediate, there will be psychological effects, some of which we are already seeing in the form of waning business confidence, record high excess corporate cash, weak capital spending, and of course anemic hiring. Now, I do see some positive offsets via several trends that have developed this year, including housing momentum, manufacturing competitiveness that comes with stronger exports, and domestic energy strength. But we'll likely need at least a partial resolution to the fiscal cliff. That way, what we're subtracting from those positive trends is significantly less than the fiscal cliff drag of 3.5 to 4 percentage points that is the consensus for the magnitude of the full hit to GDP. Thanks for listening.
Well,
Just so the folks know, we only heard the last 18 seconds of that entire video. So please call 472-2255.
Yeah, tell us what they said. Because I heard her and I wanted to play her and I wanted us to talk about what she had to say, but now we didn't hear what she had to say.
I knew I should have taken reading lips class.
So in layman's terms, what is the fiscal cliff?
Huh?
Okay.
All right, play it
just-
again. We got
just
time.
the first
Go ahead.
minute and something, yeah.
Yeah, at least the first minute and a quarter or whatever.
This is the one your people don't want to let go, right?
Anders, Chief
The cliff.
Oh, yeah.
Investment
No, it's-
Strategist at Charles Schwab. I've talked in the past about how the market, businesses, and investors dislike uncertainty. And while we alleviated one big question mark with the outcome of the election, it did nothing to provide clarity on the bigger uncertainty, which is the so-called fiscal cliff. Now, the term cliff suggests that if we fall off it, it's a steep and immediate plunge. In fact, the fiscal cliff, even if the whole package kicks in at year end, won't be an immediate hit to the economy. The impact of both the tax hikes and the sequestration spending cuts, of course, will be spread out over the year. In addition, President Obama's win suggests that Fed Chair Ben Bernanke keeps his job and likely the Fed's pedal to the metal, which would temper some of the pain of the cliff. In fact, it might be more of a fiscal gradual slope, but that doesn't mean it isn't a very serious issue. And while the impact might not be immediate, there will be psychological effects, some of which we are already seeing in the form of waning business confidence, record high excess corporate cash, weak capital spending, and of course anemic hiring. Now, I do see some positive offsets via several trends that have developed this year, including housing momentum, manufacturing competitiveness that comes with stronger exports, and domestic energy strength. But we'll likely need at least a partial resolution to the fiscal cliff. That way, what we're subtracting from those positive trends is significantly less than the fiscal cliff drag of 3.5 to 4 percentage points that is the consensus for the magnitude of the full hit to GDP. Thanks for listening.
Anemic job growth. Yeah, my people are not turning this down, right? You know,
That's right. They're holding
he doesn't
on.
mean he means Democrat. I'm Republican, and we're the Republicans. He's saying that they're holding this up. I told you we're going to get blamed no matter what happens.
So for some people, it's a cliff. For other people, it's a ramp. It's a way to shoot off. Listen, money. If you have a whole lot of people with their money out, their hands out wanting money because they don't make money, they need more money. So if I'm in the business of trying to get a whole bunch of people who don't make much money or on the system, if you will, they need me to give them more money. The only way to get the money is to go off the cliff. Because you're not going to persuade the people on the other side. So that's why they want it to
That lady's
happen.
making it like those people need more money with the handout. They're not going to get any more money either. Just the people who got it are going to have to give out more, and it'll be gradual. So it's going to tear us all up at the end, but it's not going to be an immediate crash.
It's a slow death. It's just like what the lady said. My opinion is it's going off the cliff, the ramp, whatever it is. The bottom line is it depends on what side of the track, if you will, you're coming from. If you make money,
Well, I'm over there on Crack Street.
it's going to cost you a lot of money. And if you don't make much money, it's still going to cost you money. It's just not going to come out of a paycheck. Even if you get more money given to you through a welfare program, if bread costs more money, if fuel costs more money, if auto insurance is more money, you're not making any hay.
Go ahead, Gabino. I know you got something to say about this.
Well, all I'm going to say is that at the end of the day, they'll just go and print more money.
I wish I could do all this kind of stuff.
You know.
Well, then that connects us to inflation.
Well,
When there's so much money out there and the demand will go down, that makes inflation. And now all of a sudden, what do we have? Now we're even in a worse condition. What we need is smarter Americans. We need harder workers. We need people who actually give a darn about this country. We need people who are embarrassed to be on a welfare system for a lifetime. Some people that are on the system are there because they want to be there, and that's a growing number of people. We need to audit the system. We need to go in and interview every single person who's on the system, why are they on it, and should they really be on it. Some of the numbers out there say that 20% of the people who are on the system shouldn't be on the system at all.
Like I told you, at the VA and at the Social Security, you can tell the gold brickers. That's what we used to call them back in the, you know.
What do you think about that, Covino?
What's that?
Well, what he just said.
I mean, well, we live in a democratic society. We live in a capitalist society, and that's where all this is coming from. And
I know you like capitalist
we don't have
society.
a level playing field for everyone, that's for sure.
You think it's a little paradox?
Hello, Gabino. I mean, no, Edgar. talking to me. He won't call up the phone, but he'll text me.
Do you think it's a little paranoia or?
It's all. Me? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Speak up louder.
Hello? 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 Hello?
What do y'all never mind.
And that's not on purpose,
Is that
just because it's Democrat,
Just
right?
because he's Democrat,
That's what I
yeah.
make sure.
So Republican
Full
mic here.
disclosure.
Yeah, Republicans got your mic screwed up.
And they have all the money. Can you imagine?
Yeah, well, I know better than that one too.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, both their parties seem to have lots of money, and I do know.
Well, here's the thing, though, that through all the social programs, it's really not the program. It's a lot of the people that run the program. The abuse and misuse of that. For example, I know folks that are in the hospital. The doctor comes and visits you every day, and you're thinking as a patient, my God, this doctor really cares for me. Well, at the end of the day, you get a bill, and his visit was $400.
And
Just to peek in and look and say, oh, you're doing all right, next. And then you find other communities, other vendors, Medicaid, Medicare, I mean, where you have items that are inflated, talking about inflation, about 4 or 5 times for that product. So in addressing all of that, I think we could probably go beyond the cliff and whatnot, but who's going to defeat the American Medical Association? Who's going to,
They got deep pockets on
They
both
got deep
parties.
They're like the teachers' unions.
Yeah, and the teachers
How you going to
union.
defeat them too? You're right.
So-
Corruption is everywhere.
I mean, that's the icing on the cake right there, and then you can find your different parties in the mix. But once I was walking by the other day, I happened to be at BRAC, and I was walking from one section of the hospital to the other, and in the hallway I overheard 2 doctors conversing. This whole new procedure, and oh, but you know what? Medicaid will pay for it. And I'm saying, wow. And if they don't, I guess they wouldn't do it. They won't do it. So, what happens to the doctors of the old days of the 50s where they would carry a bag and go visit you, not because they wanted money, but because of the care and the compassion and the
they actually
sincerity.
cared about, well, there was a whole different time back then. We had about a quarter of the people we have now.
And people didn't get sued as much either.
People didn't get sued
I mean,
as
you
much.
didn't have doctors being sued left and right.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. It ain't our
And
people.
that was your party.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. It's not our people suing. We're not suing because we don't know. We can't get legal,
I
to do
believe
this.
there's a
You
lot
argue about that one. I don't
Now,
think it's
Well, that's what I'm saying.
supporting.
Those, I'm talking about we as individuals.
Yeah,
we as
that's true.
individuals have yet to fill a courtroom or a docket because we have individually filed a
Some
lawsuit.
dog like to chew my old lady's arm off, and I never got
Oh
to
yeah,
go
no.
with it.
I mean, with
Never got
nonprofits. I mean, you have directors making $120,000
Holy cow.
of these nonprofits.
Oh, there's some making over $1 million and a half in some of these large nonprofits. Listen, you get to the big picture, in my opinion, of what's going on, okay? Corruption's there whenever there's going to be money, because money it obviously draws that out of all different types of people all over the world. The reality is that in this country, we don't pay attention until it's almost too late. Okay, and in the end, if we don't really start paying attention to what's going on, the fiscal cliff was designed by Democrats and Republicans. They called it a cliff on purpose to let you know that it's bad for everyone. But ultimately, if we end up going over the cliff, for some, it's not going to be that bad. Versus others, business owners, it's going to be horrific. You're going to see unemployment go through the roof. You're going to see costs of everything going up because you're going to have less people working, and you're going to have more people on the system, and then you're going to have to tax more to feed the system. It's a never-ending cycle. We need to start generating jobs in this country and start educating people on things that can make us profit in a for-profit society. And we have too many people not making anything.
I think a lot of this is just a distraction to get us to argue amongst each other rather than focus
I
on
tell you, it was
Congress.
working.
Rabble-rousing.
And really, right, and get Congress to to do something about it. What about their pay raises that they've always gotten?
You're right.
We're not holding them accountable at all.
Well, you make a huge point, in my opinion, because look at the Senate. Look at the budget. We have no budget. It is illegal to not have a budget. We have no budget in this country. We're actually electing a president again, Democrat or Republican, without having a budget. Then we're going to go and do another place with no budget? It doesn't even make sense. No. And it's because so many people are so uneducated about how to make money, what capitalism is. You know, we need to teach people out there in the viewing audience how to make money. And we don't do that in this society anymore. We need to teach it in school. We have over $1 trillion in educational debt now. We're the most overeducated, unemployed country on earth. That is a problem in this country. And then you can graduate with a master's degree and still not know how to make money in the business you're in. There's way too much corruption across the board. We have got to start focusing in on the problem. And the problem is we have a society of people who do not understand how to make money in the society.
He said we got no problem. He just print some more.
Yeah, they were asking for a vote to go beyond the limit.
The debt limit?
The debt limit, yeah.
Debt ceiling, whatever, that's right.
Yeah,
Just
so next,
more,
the other thing, though, is that our folks want to work. They just don't want to, your people don't want to give them a work permit. How many
folks?
Yeah.
For the audience, who's our folks?
Republicans.
The Mexicans.
The Mexicans, okay.
Want to work. Yeah,
And
the
the
Republicans don't want to give them a guest work permit. Now, how many Mexicans do you find at all these corners hustling money? How many?
They're not out there begging for money.
That's right. They're out there looking for work. So
Mostly
the
white
work
people out there
ethic,
begging for
ethic
money.
is there. It's the opportunity that's not there. They're not. Why did Reagan? Why was Reagan? Why did many people think, oh, Reagan was so nice to the immigrants. Reagan didn't give a hell about the immigrants. It was the ranchers that were in California that were crying, the growers, hey, we don't have nobody to pick our products. You better get these folks something, because if not, Johnny down there, he don't want to wash a car. He doesn't want to work a car wash, much less come out here to a field and pick. But what I'm saying that's what I'm saying is that it's a capitalist issue.
No, but that's a symptom of a bigger problem. The bigger problem is we have such a powerful welfare state in this country that we pay people not to work. We would not need as many illegal aliens and undocumented people coming from the south of the border if we made people work that can work. We don't do that in this country. We actually pay people to stay home.
Go ahead. Hold on. Go ahead.
You don't have to make them work. All you have to do is cut those purse strings.
Well, that's the way you're right. That's how we make them work, though.
Cut the purse strings.
That's exactly right. We do not need as many illegal aliens in this country if we had people who could work. But why would I work? If I'm a father and I have 2 kids at home and maybe I'm married and maybe I'm not married, I could make $30,000, $40,000, $45,000 a year, have free health care, get to go look for my little Wick stickers on inside Walmart, and I get to go find all my food. It doesn't cost me a dime. Okay? Why would I go do that? And then you're going to come in and pick the cotton, and you're going to come in and wash the cars and mow the lawns?
Because this country has lived on behavior of racism. Because if you and I if you and I have the same grades and go to college, they'll select you before they select me. That's the symptom that has led us to this welfare, to all these other social programs, is because America, when all you Europeans came over here, our people.
Blame it about people again. Go
our
ahead.
people opened their arms out and invited you to Thanksgiving dinner, not knowing that you were going to rip them off with their land and their politics and everything else.
You've been
500 years later, it still hasn't. It's still the same thing.
There has never been a society, whether you look at in my own family, up in you go through Childress, Texas. Okay, been here a long time. Okay, you look at the immigrants that came in. I'm half Italian, that came in from Italy. There's never been.
How come they're not? How come they're not illegal aliens?
Because they went through Ellis Island and they went through a legal program.
The big difference, like Gavita's talking about, is when you immigrate from Mexico, you're close. If you immigrate from Italy, you couldn't go home. You couldn't say, "Come on, cousin, come on over here."
Right.
Well, one of the ideas is to move the Statue of Liberty from New York to Corpus Christi.
Hey.
Listen, some people say, listen, we can all joke about what we're doing. This is a real issue.
Serious.
People
I'm serious.
actually
Why
believe-
not?
I like Paul
Why
Workman's
not?
bill. We Republicans threw away a big opportunity when we killed Paul Workman's driver's license for illegal.
Oh, he's coming up with it again, I hope.
I do too.
Because it's just like going back, okay,
But
right
it's
now.
too late now, even if he does get it.
Like right
your
now.
Democrats will take all the credit for
Right,
it.
look at this. Right now we have an issue of education,
You in
correct?
support of that?
Of what?
The driver's license bill?
I'm in support of
Carl Whitman's
it
bill?
because it's a win-win, not only for the drivers, but for the insurance companies.
It
you know,
identifies
it
illegal
identifi-
aliens, it fingerprints them, photos them, you get a criminal background check, and I even wanted to add, do a little physical check.
But we're a safe city, so nothing's gonna happen.
You mean sanctuary
Sanct-
city?
Sanctuary city,
Yeah, so
yeah.
nothing's gonna happen. So they're gonna do all that, and then what's gonna happen?
Well, if they got a driver's license, they're no longer illegal aliens, they got some kind of work permit. Not
Let me
every.
tell you,
They're not according to the federal.
let me tell you, 90% of I call them international guests, okay?
Oh,
Because when you hear international guests, they only refer to the Europeans, the French, and oh, they're here visiting our country. But if it's a Mexican, oh, he's an illegal alien, robber and thief, and all that.
It's only
That's a
because
totally
of the
different
volume-
perception.
It's because of the volume of people that are coming
It's
across the
enlarged.
border.
It's like I had a young lady
Yeah.
from the university at one work session ask me, Gavino, if you will go outside and look around, how many illegal immigrants do you think we have? I said, I don't know. Last time I saw, there were a lot of Europeans here.
Yeah, hold on, Craig.
Okay?
One thing
Now,
I
you
can
can't
say for
erase that history. That's a fact. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
erase that
there's
history.
one thing
You
I
might
can
not
say
like
for today is I can go to Mexico. Well, now I need supposed to have a passport card, but we used to be able to go to Mexico. They didn't ask me nothing.
You'd be
I'm going around
surprised.
line.
You'd be surprised how many white folks are in Mexico
A lot of them.
living off of their retirement. Now, if Mexico was
down
to, if
there.
Mexico wanted to be, like the U.S., you'd say, you know what, y'all need to get out of here. Where's your visa?
Well,
Where's
no,
your
no,
permit?
actually, they do.
You
'Cause
know?
if you recall, Mexico has some very strict immigration laws. And, well, yeah, you got to have
We're
some
the
money.
only country not enforcing our sovereignty.
That's true.
This country
You gotta
has a
fight that.
Constitution of the United States, a Bill of Rights, a Declaration of Independence, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. All those things are real. And here's the bottom line. I don't care what your color of skin is. I don't care where you come from. The bottom line is we have law. The Constitution says the number one thing that we're supposed to do, the first three words, we the people. Everything else after that means nothing. If we, the people, don't get, first of all, sovereignty. The sovereignty of this country is the single most important thing there is. And every single elected official who does not protect our borders, I don't care what side it is, are breaking the fundamental first law of the Constitution of this country. And I don't care who comes. Whoever comes to this country should be coming to empower the Constitution and what it stands for, not breaking the Constitution. It's to empower it. Okay, let's put an Ellis Island in. Let's put a version of Ellis Island in Corpus Christi, also in south of Tucson, Arizona. Let's put one there. Let's filter everybody coming in. We can no longer sustain what's happening. You don't right to bear arms? You're darn right. We have more people buying guns today in this country because they're afraid of what's coming. Fear is what's simmering under a lot of people in this country. And if we don't deal with this problem in a real sophisticated way, and not just with sarcasm and hyperbole, we really deal with it, we are truly going to have a much worse cliff than this fiscal one we're facing right now.
Central Texas Gun Works?
No, this whole clip thing is nothing but media and government propaganda. Because, like I say, at the end of the day, they'll just go and print more money, and so,
Call back.
Call back. What, call? Oh, they hung up on you? Accidentally hung up on you.
And the welfare services don't only go to blacks and Mexicans.
Of
You have
course
poor
not.
whites out there.
Absolutely you do.
So,
It's-
again, it is true that this government pays basically young ladies or families more money to have more kids and stay home.
To stay home.
I mean, that's a reality. That's nothing. But
Hold on a minute. If you got a computer at home, go to YouTube and plug in EBT. You won't believe some of the videos come out. EBT card. It's a California food stamp card. And they see songs about it.
I know Texas is going to push for any and all who receive should get a drug test.
Dope test. You like that idea?
I like that idea.
I do too.
I like that idea.
Ready for what?
Here it comes.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I like that dope test before any kind of...
Hey,
And they should include alcohol.
caller.
Go ahead.
Abuse of alcohol.
I just want to kind of address a question to our liberal co-star up here.
Well, it must be Galino.
Yeah. Do you like air conditioning?
Like air conditioning.
Yeah, do you like air conditioning?
No, I can do without it. Done without it for many, many years.
Toilet paper, modern medicine, all the other stuff that these evil Europeans brought here to this continent.
Syphilis and
That's
disease and
Spanish white people.
So you had no problems in your own despotic third world hellhole.
I did.
That we brought all that to you.
What are you trying to say? That
What's your point?
I think his point is we brought civilization,
Right.
good and bad. That's one thing I always try to point out.
And
They always talk about
if it's so bad with us Europeans here, you can always go back. I mean, I'm sure they're having a great time down in Mexico without us.
I'm home. I'm at home. I don't
Well,
need to
hey,
go-
you know
I
what?
don't need to
You
go
guys-
anywhere.
No, well, we're home too.
Yeah.
That's one thing, at the Valley, I like talking with the professors down there. They talk about how white men come and say, hold on now, them Spanish, Mexicans.
Well,
they
here's
come,
my
the Spanish
point.
were
That
whites.
the problem is a problem in general, and it shouldn't be tagged to any sector of the community.
He wanted to hear the guy on the phone.
The issue of what you're talking about is true. The abuse, the misuse, and all of that, but it shouldn't be, because
Thank you.
you see the social programs because you advertise them and people go get and apply, and so it's a very public process. Yet the rich, they get their own perks,
They get a bit, you could, if I had my dump truck still, I could buy a car, call it for the company, get a DBA, doing business as, but that also helps put people to work. Like Jesse, he goes buy a dump truck, and somebody's got to build that dump truck.
This is not
Yeah.
a
Get the
race
tax break
issue,
for
though.
it.
Here's what
Right,
happens.
that's
this
right.
has nothing to do with
Thank
race,
you.
man. This is
Thank
the
you.
smoke and mirrors, folks.
Right.
Make
We're-
no
I think
mistake,
we-
folks. Which
we
camera are we on?
certainly understand
This is not race. This is the game.
Right.
Make no mistake, folks. It's a
class-
game.
it's a class.
It's a game. It has nothing to do with you're Indian or you're Hispanic or you're black or you're a redhead. That's 1.5% of the population on Earth and
There you go,
and a
that's it.
recessive gene. You want to know the real one minority? I guess it's me. I want a whole bunch of tax dollars to figure out why redheads are recessive genes. Are you kidding me? The bottom line is we have too many people who play stupid. We have too many people who accept money when they shouldn't accept it because we don't do what you said. We don't hold them accountable for what they do. Listen, we have to hold people accountable for not doing what they need to do. Everybody needs to chip in this society. Now, if you're sick, if you're too old, if there's something physically wrong, we need to take care of you. If you don't meet those certain criteria, you have to chip in. If you're on unemployment, you know what? I'll give you something to do.
Now, here's what I'm hearing you say. I'm hearing you say hold everyone accountable, cut the purse strings, and also everyone contribute equally, right? So we should do that also for the rich. Everyone should be taxed equally. And we should cut the purse strings down below.
In that case, the rich wouldn't be paying no taxes
So
because they're like 30 or 40%. 30 what percent now?
The percentage of wealth, if a person is an individual, okay, what is a person worth?
Right.
Okay, so if you live and you take a space up and you do something, what should it cost you to live somewhere? $5,000 a year? $10,000 a year? What's the cost of you living in the United States of America? And whatever that cost is what you should truly have to pay on top of some of the, every person should have their individual of what they have to owe. If you really want to be equal, then everyone should have to pay the equal amount. So that, you know who really wins? The rich. Why? Because if everyone has to have an equal spot, well, no, it's because they are working hard to make money. They are employing people, okay? The bottom line is that we have got to start teaching people how to make more money in this country. Taxing people who are rich, they're just going to charge you more. There's no way around it. That's the way mathematics works. That's a fact. That's the laws of capitalism. And they are laws. Because the only other alternatives are socialism, communism, dictatorships, monarchs. You want some of those? Or do you want this?
I'd say we virtually got it now. We had Clintons and then the Bushes. Now we got the Clintons coming back.
Don't, yeah, well,
Obviously, Hillary's gonna, I don't know why she's not president now, to tell you the truth. But
our political world is small head, eyes close together, it's inbred. I'm so tired of the Kennedys being there for a lifetime, the Clintons, the Bushes. I don't need any more.
They get paid a lot of money
we
there.
need new blood into our society, in our political society.
Rubio's new.
yeah.
Yes, Marco Rubio. You have Ted Cruz here in Texas.
Cruz is new.
Ted Cruz is new. See, that's the science of the new coming politics. And I have always said that we are more conservative than conservatives, and not by choice. You know, we conserve electricity not because we want to conserve, because we don't have money at the end of the month if we don't conserve. Okay?
I know you've observed a lot of politics in your life, haven't you?
So, you
You've
know,
been involved forever. As long as I can remember, City Hall or County Commissioner Gavino's been down here.
well, I've been involved since '72 when I was going to high school.
You was a radical back then.
I was a
Is
radical
it
back
great
then.
now?
Radical back then. But also goes to point, for example, today we have an issue of whether we should have an all-boys school and all-girls school.
Yeah, we certainly talked some about
Okay.
AISD.
So, and this is what I'm talking about, the opportunity and the education. You teach kids, not all of them learn the same. AISD is like two cities in one. From Bowie to Eastside Memorial, two totally different worlds. Okay? So
Yeah,
here
that's
we
really
have,
what he said
so
about
here we
people
have
work
this
so hard.
opportunity to teach people to work within the capitalist system and earn their and
Right.
earn their fair share. Yet you have a majority of the school board and the majority of the Chamber of Commerce shutting it down, saying no, no. And then I'm thinking there's a conspiracy here. You may, because in societies, in certain societies, you have to have rich and poor, or else it's not equal, right?
Yeah.
So in this particular case, I'm seeing from the outside, wait a minute, there's a conspiracy here. If these schools are successful in Grand Prairie, in Houston, in other parts of the country, in New York, in California, and we wanting to bring it here to Austin, where Pierce has been shut down, Garcia is probably going to be shut down, but instead of bringing in an innovative idea, a totally different approach, you shut everything down and go back to square one. I mean, what hope is that?
Hold on a minute. Now, Gavino has been traveling around rather extensively with AISD.
I've been traveling around with AISD.
With,
I went to Houston. They have two young men, two schools, one for young men and one for young women.
And the science behind having them divided is what? Having a male, all the way up through high school?
No, 6 in these. Well, Houston all the way, Dallas 6th, 7th, and 8th. Each area has a totally different composition of what grades they're going to extend it to. But Houston is all the way up to the 12th grade. One of the things that they cite is that, let me see, as a matter of fact, I brought it here, is that suitable for students with a strong commitment to graduate from college, rigorous curriculum and high expectation, emphasis on 21st century leadership skills such as teaming, collaboration, interpersonal skills, personal, social, civic responsibility, high-order thinking, sound reasoning, adaptability, managing completely self-direction, curiosity, creativity, risk-taking, interactive communication, prioritizing, planning, managing for results, effective use of real-world tools, ability to produce relevant, high-quality products. All of these are ingredients.
But why male and female, though? Nothing there tells me why male only and female
Okay,
only.
because the females will tell you that the most common that I heard from the students is that when they're separated, boys will be boys and girls will be girls. They're more concentrated on their topic than whether, you know,
Did they have male teachers for the boys?
It's a mix. It's a mix.
But we're not building social skills. Social skills are about learning. What about learning how to work together? Divorce rate is over 50% of this country. We don't need to be dividing males and females. We need to be
teaming, collaboration,
but that's not teaming
and
against girls. But these are
interpersonal skills.
Those are all guys schools,
Right.
all girls schools.
So when you go to a college,
so unless you're a
you have
homosexual in a
fraternity.
guy school, then you could enjoy it, I guess.
You have a sorority.
Do they have their own school too, by the way?
Who's this?
Would the homosexuals have their own school? Because if it's about attraction, and if it's a boy who likes a boy and a girl that likes a girl, do you have to have a separate school?
No, I'm looking at the education of the individual who happens to be a human being.
But that has,
Now,
that's not true.
Now, whatever
true.
lifestyle there is, or they have,
A boy and a girl is a lifestyle.
That's not for me to dictate.
A boy and a girl is a lifestyle, and you are dictating because you're saying that the boys can't be with the girls can't be with the boys. How is
No,
that?
I'm not saying that they can't. What studies are showing is that they learn better under those situations.
We need to teach people how to work together better, not segregate them. Segregating people doesn't work.
I think what that is, that you're sitting there and when you break that down like that, there's no reason why they shouldn't be together, boys and girls. Honestly, I feel. What you're looking at, the teachers, they're showing, I guess they're coming forward with more determination to make sure that program actually succeeds as they separate themselves as boys, separate themselves as girls, rather than just continue what we're putting together. In the military, if you do that for for example.
Well, no, let's go to the military. Why aren't they co-ed?
Hold on, nigga.
Why is the military not co-ed? If your premise is
the military is actually going.
No. Right now, why is it not co-ed?
The military is going that direction.
But right now, it's not. They can't even go to. The women can't even fight in combat.
Well, in boot camp, it's always.
There are many women who fight in combat.
I'm talking about in the military.
Yeah.
There are many women who fight in combat in the military.
Not that many. It's still
but there is a growing number. Of course there is. But listen, that's part of growing a society. Dividing us does not work. Working together. And listen, if you're going to teach something in school, I want guys and girls learning how to communicate together. Divorce rate skyrockets in this country every year.
This is in school. This ain't marriage.
No, but we teach social skills.
What if they don't want to get married?
You go back to the
social
basics. Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. God put man and woman on this earth to be together, and that's how it's always meant to be.
Catholic high schools used to be segregated.
So there's no reason why we can't. There's no reason why we can't learn together.
I'm just going based on the testimony of the child that's receiving the education right now, not by what someone that's looking in and judging and seeing whether they think it's right or not.
I think the school
if the student comes out and tells you,
single sex.
That's right. If the students come out and share their experience and to them it's positive, hey, and it's successful, and they do get a job, and they're not on the welfare line, hey, that's what we need to do.
So if as long as it's an entirely voluntary situation,
it is a choice school,
and that the student is evaluated, and they can be opt-in or they can opt-out at any point at their accord, and it's not segregated in societies, we have a problem, folks, in this country.
You're gonna grow men. You're gonna have men that cannot relate to women.
That's exactly
and women
right.
who cannot relate to men.
I don't know. Some could say we already have that now with the divorce.
That's because we have a broken school system. This does not fix the broken problem in the system. We have to get rid of tenure.
No, it's because
we have to get rid of tenure.
We have to get rid of either corruption. You have a disloyal husband or a disloyal wife. Yeah, there ain't nothing else to it.
But it stems from the social side of society. What you learn in society. School has a huge responsibility.
In that case, we need to separate them.
No, it's the opposite. We need to invest more time into understanding why we have such a broken society. We have to fix what's broke, not by dividing it, but by understanding that men and women in a whole, as a majority, since all the dawn of time and in the future moving forward, are going to be together. We need to teach people how to work together. I believe, listen, I'm a married man. I don't have to be married to be a strong man, but me understanding...
I had to be married and deadhead shotgun.
Me understanding, hopefully, what my wife's needs are, helps me. So I completely disagree with something that divides this country. I'm tired of segregation. I'm tired of dividing people. I'm tired of political systems that say...
This is an educational policy that's coming up for review. A lot of people, like you said before, a lot of people don't bother to... How many people, you've been at the school board meeting, how many people show up?
Yeah. No,
how many people even know who their school board members are?
And they are the highest taxing entity. The school district.
And that's a fact. Well, listen, you could be in Leander ISD, you could be in Austin ISD.
I'm talking about Austin ISD.
But both, they're very connected. They're right next to each other. The reality is we pay a tremendous amount of money. We have problems in this country because of, listen, the teachers' union needs to be broke. The teachers union is part of what's wrong with our educational system. My own mother was in education for 18 years. I have siblings, I have cousins that are in education right now. The bottom line is we have teachers that can't be fired in this country. They're the only protected class that can do a horrible job and stay in their job.
I have to disagree with that.
Well, that's okay. You can, but that's your show.
Teachers can be fired.
Very hard, though. Extremely hard. Once they get tenure, it is very hard to get them out.
All you gotta do is slap the kid and you shoot, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I got a relative that knows about teaching too.
Texas is
She was a teacher.
is a little enigma in the United States of America. A lot of this country is not like Texas. More of this country needs to be more like Texas in a lot of ways. Okay, in a lot of ways.
A lot of people did. Well, I kind of like Gavino's idea. Louis Farrakhan, Nation of Islam, he likes it too.
Separating the boys from the girls?
Like I
Yeah,
said,
and the boys get taught by men.
I don't
He
care.
says that's what the part of the problem is in our society is men are no longer taught to be men.
And then you're going to
They're
grow them. You're going
demasculated.
and then you're going to grow them up not respecting women. And
No,
then
you
you're
grow
really
them
going to have
up
a
to
bigger
be
problem.
gentlemen.
It all
I get tired.
depends.
What I get tired of seeing out there is guys walking down the street with their girl, and they got the girl on the outside by the street.
But
gentlemen don't do that.
But
See,
that's a
just little
society.
things
But
like
that's because their father didn't teach them. Because we have a growing number of fathers not in the household. We have listen. We are a broken society within the family unit. We are a Judeo-Christian society as a whole.
Nobody goes to church no more.
Well, a lot of people go to church. Many people go to church. Many Hispanics and Indians and Italians and Jewish people. A lot of people go to church. We have far more people who go to church in this country than don't go to church in this country. So what are we doing here? We are mixing. We're making problems in areas that we don't need to. We need to invest in ourselves as a unit, as the United States of America.
And we're putting a lot of emphasis on the school. Too much on the school.
Oh, and that's the truth.
And it's parenting. Parents need to handle certain responsibilities of those children, and the school needs to teach them certain things. And
they
I think
have a responsibility
we're
sure.
putting too much on the school.
And it goes by because
How do we avoid it?
Education, teaching. Well, first of all, making people
You
understand.
just say we got too much out of school, and you say education.
Well, education has more than just the education in school. We have a responsibility in media. I have a responsibility as a talk show host for years. I have a responsibility to at least show people the facts and show them why I believe that. Not just say, here's what I think, but I've got no facts behind it. We have to have factual-based statements. We can't have these rabble-rousers going up on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all these, name them all.
Gavino just had some info that single-sex schools can have results.
Okay.
I kind of like the idea.
In my opinion, as long as people listen, this is.
I don't know. You say they won't interact, but.
Well, they can't interact if they're not there.
A Catholic high school. They had a Catholic girls' high school right next door, and they used to have dances and all that.
Listen, the more you
My
restrict.
brother went through like 7 wives. He knows all about it.
As a matter of fact, on Fridays they have events where they both are engaged.
So they do have some
like a
social
football
activity.
game or extracurriculum or things like that. So it's not totally an isolation where the girl won't see a boy for 3 or 4 years.
Right. Of course not.
Especially at that age, huh?
I don't know how.
Now, the only amazing thing that in Grand Prairie is that supposedly all these kids come from dysfunctional families and have social issues. I mean, you could write a whole book on it. Yet, in these two schools, they have 1,000 characters with that stigma. Yet, it started in September, and as of last week, out of the 1,000 students, only 2 pulled out.
We all come
1,000
from-
in each one, 1,000 young men and 1,000 young women. Okay, and they're the ones that are testifying and saying that they're having better success. They had the data. They showed us the data. As a matter of fact, one little girl stood up and said, my math was bad last year. This year, there was a turnaround of over 40% in my math grades. Now,
She didn't have to compete with the other girls for boys.
Well, controlled
now-
studies. You got to see where the studies come from. The controlled
no,
study.
her personal
Okay, her person.
result.
That's okay. There's
Her personal
every person
results.
comes from a different place, and in science, okay, we call it empirical data. Okay, empirical data. Until you have enough ins, okay, and those in the science world would know, once you have enough ins and you have a controlled study with placebos also in charge, that you really know what's going on. We need if we're going to look at something, it's well, you know. We need more placebos in charge, as a matter of fact. We need to be able to.
So, you got a point.
We need to have, well, listen, the placebo effect is right now we're living it in this country. Okay,
Yeah,
a lot of
somebody's getting
placebo
paid
effect.
A lot of money to be up there in the government telling us that it's.
We have too many people in the school, in the school business, and instead of being in the human business, human element business. Listen, every person in education is looked at as a dollar bill, you know, and that's not good in this country.
I can't help it, man. I hate that.
Parenting,
Anyway.
parenting.
Yeah, because
the school needs to focus on math.
Reading, writing, arithmetic.
Thank you. And then they go home at night and learn the rest of that from their parents. If there's a problem where that child comes home from school and their grades have fallen, then that's up to the parents to say, hey, what are you doing? What's going wrong? You know, you need to
What if
come
the
home
parent's not
and
there?
study a little more.
What if part of the problem that we see, and I've worked with American Youth Works, AmeriCorps, okay? I've worked with them. I drove, I went out to Washington, D.C. and built energy efficient homes with those kids. I've helped with curriculum. I understand. I get it. I've been there. I see it for a number of years.
We cut the purse strings, you know, and either you either learn from your mistakes and you move on and you grow, or you get eaten up with the
That's
rest
right.
of society.
Well, that's exactly. We're trying to make everybody be okay in a world that not everyone can be. Okay, there's a natural selection in life that happens where someone makes a wrong turn in a car and they get in an accident. That's horrible. They just weren't paying attention. There's things that happen in life for people who eat too much because they know, listen, McDonald's is not good for you. They just go anyway. Some say it's because they can only afford
Big Mac.
Well, some say they can only afford to give their kids that they have 5 kids and they can only afford the 99-cent double cheeseburgers. There's a whole, listen, it's a whole big mathematical equation, but in the end it does come back to families.
So what's your
comes back to society.
So what's your solution to all these ill issues?
Well, there isn't a magic wand.
And yeah, my question again. Let me put what is your solution to the
Clarify.
perfect world?
There is no such thing as a perfect world. It doesn't exist.
Okay.
Okay? And you know, the bottom line is the perfect world, hopefully one day will be after this, that we get to go somewhere, those of us have faith. Those who don't have that faith, I don't know what that perfect world is. There is no perfect world on earth. Okay? The fact of the matter is, what we have to do is make people, is the best we can, understand. And the term make is so difficult because it's so, look at you, if your kid's running out into the street, okay, and is 4 years old and there's traffic out there, do you go, Timmy, stop? You go, Timmy, stop! Why? Because you know they're about to run out in
And
traffic.
then you're going to get a call from
Okay?
CPS.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you're right.
That's
We're
And
to
the
that point.
kid will tell you, you know what, I'm going to call 911. You're abusing me.
Yeah, well then if you get in front of a judge that doesn't know, listen, if you get in front of a judge, well then that's a
Be
problem.
a Democrat judge.
Well, I would hope not. I would hope not.
And just appeal it. It'd be
That's right. You go to Third Court of Appeals, you go to Scott Field, you go to all of that,
So
right?
you have a radio show?
I do. Absolutely. Did it for here a number of years in town, and now we have Be First in Media. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we got too much stuff. I want to ask Mr. Cargill here. Now, I understand the part about if there ain't no parents at home, they don't get involved.
Correct.
Why do we waste money trying to get them involved? But is there some way to? It's like you want to just throw these kids out, or you give them how do you give them a second chance, or how do you reach out? What am I trying to say here? How do you reach out to them and tell them, hey, is there a mentoring program out there that maybe something to try and help these kids? A lot of them, daddy ain't there, mama's all cracked up, and
Right.
Well,
you do have
right.
boys, boys and girls clubs and stuff like that that people can focus on. But you cannot put that responsibility on the school. You're putting so much on the schools where you're making the schools are now the parents, the mother and the father, and that's not how it should be. That's what the parents are for. So we need to, get the parents to parent. We all come from broken families and dysfunctional families. I was raised by a single mother, and I, overcome.
Not quite sure what I was raised by, but there wasn't no daddy in it.
Everyone can find an excuse on why not to do the right thing. We
Exactly.
must learn that we must do the right thing. And the unfortunate part is a lot of people, we have a growing number of people in this country who don't even know what the right thing is anymore. That's a problem.
The Statesman the other day had an article.
You were raised by jackal.
The Statesman the other day had an article about was spending too much time for the test. Damn, I can't bring it up on the screen right now.
Well, that the test
Did you
is
see
too
that?
hard or something like that. No,
Yeah,
they were saying. But look,
Did you know the
I
article?
understand raising the kids, but that in itself does not produce a productive citizen. Look at the guy that shot all those people in the movie theater. This is a doctorate candidate.
Yeah,
He was a candidate for a doctor's
but
degree.
insanity is truly a clinical diagnosed thing.
No,
there are
I-
insane people.
No,
but there are
I-
insane people.
But
in
I'm
the
talking
world.
about the rearing part. That the rearing
Right, Jeffrey
supposedly
Dahmer's
equals.
But you know what the funny thing about
did not
that is,
teach him to eat people. Okay,
Yeah.
I get that.
but the funny thing about that is when they contacted his family, his mother, someone in his family said,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, that you have the right person."
Yeah.
Right, they did know. That's
immediately knew,
exactly right.
because they knew something was wrong with that.
So what's the listen, the fix is there's people in prisons all over the place.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
people
see-
in my own family that went to prison.
It's a revolving
and they
door.
wanted to go. And why do I know that? Because they kept doing the thing. 3 strikes, you're out. Well, you know what? Batter up. I mean, you're out and you're going to go to jail. Do you know it? Yeah. Why are you doing it? Well, I'm never going to get caught. Well, you got caught.
Well-
Now you're going to do the time. That's just the way it is. Listen, every action has an opposite and equal reaction. That's just the bottom line. And the fiscal cliff where we started on this, the fact is this. The people who invent, create, think, do things to help society that can grow jobs, that can put people to work, those are the wealthy people.
And we're going to penalize them.
They're the
We're
wealthy
going to-
people. I'm not talking about spiritually wealthy. I'm just talking about wealth within society of money. Those people have a huge thing that they contribute to us. Now, there's some that are corrupt, very corrupt, and they must be held accountable. The Bernie Madoffs are out there, and we must find them. They're everywhere. They're within our armed forces. They're within our government. They're within our school districts. Heck, some of them are our neighbors. But the bottom
A
line
lot of
is,
them are in Washington, D.C., I think.
well, of course. Absolutely.
And we need to participate in what's going on. You need to participate in what's going on the local level. Here in the state of Texas, we're getting ready to start session here in January. A lot of things are getting ready to come up, and people need to get involved and pay attention to what's going on.
The
There is a lot coming up.
the circus is in town.
Circuses. I don't have the info. New Revolution Now's got their pre-legislation thing to help.
That's coming up Saturday.
Is it Saturday?
Saturday, we'll be broadcasting from there. We'll be
At the state
broadcasting.
capitol?
It'll be something great going on. So just pay attention.
At
Listen,
the Extension Auditorium in the Capitol. Yeah.
information is power, and it works both ways, folks. I'm
I should have
telling
brought
you.
that info down.
If you have good information, you have a very good chance of being able to make a good decision. If you have bad information, you will never be able to make a good decision.
Camino, I'm not going to bet.
That was like perfect. Do you see
I
that?
was gonna say.
It went up. It's like I knew the clock was
We
ticking.
definitely need to emphasize that one tonight.
All right, at this time, I'm not going to back down, Camino,
Well,
on the driver's license bill. Last time he told
Well,
me to cut off my beer ration.
As we all know, and it's continuing
So
to
I
happen,
said, so long, Paul Workman.
it's continuing to happen. There are more and more Latinos. The population's growing and growing. It's getting bigger and bigger.
It is.
20, 30 years from now, when we're there, we're going to treat you better than
Let me
you
tell you.
treated us.
Let me tell you.
This is one question
Some of us
that.
treated you pretty damn well.
Well, this is a question I
Get your
got.
vote for nothing and-
This is a question I got from another young lady in that college session. She said, you know, we're so afraid that y'all going to take over. When y'all take over, y'all going to treat us like we treated y'all. I said, no,
That had to
Cardi.
be a Democrat lady there.
There are
said, no,
so
no.
many. There are so many Latinos and so many Hispanics that don't believe that they are very, very, very conservative. They're Christians.
conservative.
Okay, we have on my network on Be First in Media, we have a new show that launched called Latin Style, and our slogan is "Doing It Latin Style." 2 Hispanic hosts, both single parents. Okay? And why are we doing that? Because there's a certain demographic that we have to speak to. There's no doubt about it. But ultimately, we're all in this
Veronica's
together.
been on down here before.
Veronica, you know
been on down
Veronica.
here
She
before.
is one of the hosts. Gabriel Nila is the other host. We know.
Fiscal? I've been trying to get him down here, too.
We get it. We understand it. Ultimately, and that's a white, red-headed guy who's a bigger minority than you, by the way. I normally keep saying that, okay? We're less than us than everybody. So, but the fact is, that's how we do it. We get together, and we discuss the things.
But we'll have affirmative action for you, and we'll have.
I want it now. I want it now for the redheads. All you redheads out there, we're going to march in the streets. It's going to be the Million Redhead March. And we're going to go out there, and Shirley Temple will be our mascot.
You know what the problem with that is?
What's that?
Red people all got jobs.
It'll be sponsored by Coppertone. Because we'll need our suntan. Oh, man.
Well, congratulations to the Texas A&M Johnny
Yeah.
football
First
for
time.
being the first freshman
Absolutely.
in history to win
That's
the
right.
Heisman Trophy.
That's right.
Is that right?
Yes,
Well,
sir.
That's right. I heard he was.
So he probably won't do good in the
I didn't know
NFL
he
because
was the first.
most don't. Most Heisman people don't do very well in the NFL, unfortunately.
That's scary, because I didn't want to say, I got one little problem with Ted Cruz.
Okay.
He's not Tejano.
No, he's not. He's Cuban.
Cuban.
Right.
He's Cuban.
Okay.
I-
That's down by Florida, you know.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
other coast of the
Yeah,
United States.
And when they were going to do a forum in Spanish, he said no, and Dewhurst said yes, because Dewhurst's bilingual.
Yeah,
Ted
Dewhurst
is.
great.
He doesn't speak Spanish.
And he still
He said
won,
no.
and Ted Cruz still won in a landslide. It's the biggest.
gonna
We
say
got to talk
party
about.
people.
That's what we need. Well, we have to talk about a big deal that's also talking about the pulse of this country and the pulse of Texas. That he
pulse of
won in a
Texas.
landslide. It's the biggest upset in politics in this state in history.
Oh, yeah.
And more
Yeah.
people need to be talking about that. That is a huge deal. Tea Party saved the Republican Party, by the way. And I'm not,
Texas, anyway.
full disclosure, I'm not a Tea Party member, but I support a lot of stuff that they do. And the fact of the matter is that Tea Party saved the Texas Republican
You're
Party.
not a card-carrying Tea Party?
I am not. I am an NRA, though.
Oh, okay.
That one I'm proud to carry.
All right. All right.
I like gun owners of America myself, but
That's okay, too.
if you only got so much money, you got to
You got to do what you got to do, right?
Well,
You all should support the Texas State Rifle
I
Association.
do,
that's what
absolutely.
I'm supporting.
Absolutely do
Texas
that
State
Rifle
also.
Association. There you go.
Yeah, we got 2 minutes. You want to say anything?
Yes, coming up this January in session, we're going to work on as a member of the Texas State Rifle Association, open carry and then also concealed carry on campus.
All right.
How's LULAC think about that? They have a official position, or
On gun control,
Yeah.
they have a very hush conservative position.
hush conservative? That means
Yeah.
they don't want to.
They'll carry it, and they're not going to announce to everybody that they have one.
10-4. That's
Yeah.
good.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told you they's all right. Sometimes they're a little weird, but you know.
Listen, in the end, some of it is just a lot of just yelling for the sake of yelling. And
Political rhetoric.
it is. Ultimately, we will not get out of this problem without working together, and we will not get out of this problem without empowering people to become wealthy. We need more people in the 1%. We need more. That 1% needs to be 3%, 4%, 5%.
I don't mind being part of that 1%.
I'd like to too. We lost our super majority, Craig. You go not to quick go back about we saving the Republican Party.
Well, why do you
We
think
need to get
that
the
is?
majority back.
You only get to keep what you deserve. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah, 30 seconds, folks. So,
Okay, well, you need to remember that there were over 12 million people who did not vote,
and there were
for whatever
probably
reason.
a lot
Yeah.
of people, huh?
and that's the task and challenge that you're talking about, that we need to educate them and
That's
let
right.
them know
30 seconds.
that we're government. You can't say they, it's us.
We
Yeah,
the
we're the
people.
We the people.
That's right.
If we the people don't get off our brains and do something about it, then
All right, stay tuned in, folks. They'll be back
Good night.
next week with a
Have a-
show.
stay
Be back
warm.
next year.
stay warm.
So, yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that stuff. Bye-bye.